Hi, Robbins. Let's finish Mercy Watson Fights Crime. Do you remember what chapter we were on? You're right, chapter 12. What was going on? Mercy woke up. Why did she wake up? You're right, she heard a noise downstairs. What did she think that noise was? Yes, Mercy thought somebody was making toast. But what was really happening? Leroy Ninker was taking things from the Watson family kitchen. Do we ever take something that's not ours? No, we don't. All right, let's see what's going to happen. Chapter 12. In reality, Leroy Ninker was a small thief on the back of a big pig. But in Leroy's mind, he was a cowboy riding a bucking bronco in the Wild West. Being a cowboy is hard work, said Leroy Ninker. I need some refreshment. Leroy reached into his shirt pocket. He grabbed hold of a butter barrel candy. He unwrapped it with one hand and he put it in his mouth. Who likes butter? Uh-oh. Ah, said Leroy Ninker, this is the life. But just then, the pig kicked up her heels. The pig bucked. The pig reared. Leroy Ninker lost his grip. Yippee, said Leroy. He flew through the air. Said Leroy. He landed on his back. Ow, said Leroy Ninker. Uh-oh, that looks like it hurts. Chapter 13. Mercy sniffed. There was that delightful smell again. Butter. Where was it coming from? She looked around. She saw the little man lying on the ground. She sniffed his face. Hee hee, said the little man. That tickles. Mercy snuffled the man's shirt. Hee hee, he said again. In order to snuffle the man better, Mercy sat on top of him. Uh-oh. Hee hee, get off me, said the man. Mercy put her snout in the man's shirt pocket. She snuffled some more. Oh, hee hee, said the little man. Help! What is Mercy looking for? She's looking for that candy. She looks very pleased with herself, doesn't she? Mercy found a piece of candy. She bit into it. It was sweet. It was lovely. It was very, very buttery. Mercy sat on top of the little man and chewed. A siren wailed. Aw, shucks, said the little man. Who do you think's coming in the siren, Robbins? Chapter 14. The fire department arrived first. We have been to this house before, said the fireman named Ned. You are right, said the fireman named Lorenzo. This is the house with the pig. And the toast, said Ned. We ate toast at this house. I see the pig, said Lorenzo. He pointed at Mercy. The pig is sitting on somebody. Good grief, said Ned. Ned and Lorenzo got out of the fire truck. They saw Mr. and Mrs. Watson running out the front door of their house. They saw Eugenia Lincoln and baby Lincoln running out the front door of their house. This is an interesting job, isn't it, said Ned. Very interesting, said Lorenzo. See everybody there? There's Mr. and Mrs. Watson, and Mercy, and Leroy Ninker, and Eugenia, and baby, and Ted, and Lorenzo. Chapter 15. Officer Tomilello pulled into the driveway of 54 Decawoo Drive. In the yard, he saw 2 firemen, 3 women in nightgowns, and 1 man in pajamas. They were all gathered around a pig. Is that the same pig I caught driving a convertible, he asked himself. Do you remember that in the last book, Robbins? It is, he answered himself. It is exactly the same pig. Officer Tomilello squinted. Is that pig sitting on top of somebody? That certainly looks to be the case, he answered himself. Officer, officer, shouted baby, come quickly. Mercy has caught a thief. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson and Eugenia Lincoln and Baby Lincoln and Ned and Lorenzo and Officer Tomilello all looked down at Mercy. "Are you a thief, Officer Tomilello?" asked the man underneath the pig. "I am," said Leroy Ninker. "I am a thief." "Were you robbing these people?" Officer Tomilello asked. "I was," said Leroy Ninker, "until the pig got involved." "Gentlemen," said Officer Tomilello, "will you assist me in removing the pig?" On the count of 3, Ned, Lorenzo, and Officer Tomilello lifted Mercy off of Leroy Ninker. "You are under arrest," said Officer Tomilello. Isn't that pig you should be arresting?" said Eugenia Lincoln. "Mercy didn't do anything wrong, right? I think she kind of saved the day." Uh-oh, how does Leroy Ninker look? Leroy Ninker stood with his cowboy hat in his hand. He looked down at his feet. "Oh, officer," said Mrs. Watson, "the thief is so tiny. Shouldn't he have something to eat before you arrest him?" "Maybe he needs some toast," said Ned. "With a great deal of butter on it," said Lorenzo. "Toast?" said Officer Tomilello. "Who needs toast?" "Why, everyone needs toast," said Mrs. Watson. "Even cowboys," said Leroy Ninker. Do you think he feels bad for what he did? Do you think he's sorry? Mercy pricked up her ears. Toast? Butter? At last! She headed for the Watsons' kitchen, and everyone followed her. So there you see, Mercy and Mr. and Mrs. Watson and Eugenia and Baby and Officer Tomilello and Leroy and Ned and Lorenzo. Chapter 16. This looks like there's newspaper articles. This one says, the next morning, the front page of the newspaper read, "Pet pig captures thief, sits on him until help arrives." "She is a porcine wonder," said the pig's owner, Mrs. Watson. "She is a very, very brave dear," said Mr. Watson, husband of Mrs. Watson and proud co-owner of the pig. "She is a sly pig," said the Watsons' neighbor, Eugenia Lincoln, "and things with her are never as they seem." So they were all in the newspaper and they were all interviewed. More people were interviewed. Baby Lincoln, sister to Eugenia Lincoln, remarked, "The most interesting things seem to happen when one has pie right before bed." "The pig did capture the thief," said Police Officer Bert Tomilello. "How it happened, I'm not certain. But did it happen? It did." Let's see what the firemen had to say. Firemen Ned, Fortune, and Lorenzo Wiz were also at the scene. They both agreed that the pig had some amazing abilities. They also pointed out that Mrs. Watson makes excellent toast. The thief, Leroy Ninker, is interested in reforming himself. He would like to become a cowboy. Reforming himself means he knows what he did was wrong and he wants to do better. The pig had nothing to say, but she seemed very pleased with herself. The end. How did you like that book, Robbins? Tell me what your favorite part was. You liked when Mercy caught Leroy Ninker? I like that part too. I liked all the newspaper articles at the end, telling everybody in the town about what had happened. I also liked at the end when they all had toast together. That was a nice thing. All right, Robbins, I hope you liked the book. See you later.